Hi there, Alec from Vacuum Spot, doing a pretty good video I think on a Miele S5261 Cat and Dog 5000. Let's have a listen to the problem. Okay, that popping sound is accompanied by quite a very distinctive burning electrical smell, quite undesirable in a vacuum. Or in your house or furniture, I guess. Alright, we're always going to start with removing the bag and the filters, starting with a nice clean bench too, that way if anything's left over you know it's from this machine. So let's get into it. That isn't really repairable, like you can't actually fix the motor, so what we're going to do is swap the motor out. Number 20 Torx driver. There's always two screws in the front end of a Miele. Get these two out, and then we'll come around the back and we'll remove this little panel. Make a fool of me, why don't you? These do as close to just lifting right up. There we go. Gotta be a little bit gentle, but at the same time you want it to pop up. So these are the lugs here, here, here and here that are holding that on. So they're not going to be hanging on that tight, but tight enough. Now here we're removing the lug at the back. Okay, and then this will slide forward. Same story here, just unclip the lug here and then that'll slide forward and back to the screws. Okay, there's two at the back and two right in the middle. Normally I would expect to see two little springs here. I haven't worked on one of these models, well I don't think ever, but very much the same. Now here you get access to your screws by holding the lid halfway, and you can get to the screws underneath pretty easily. This is where having a long handled Torx driver is really handy, because you don't have to have the shaft of the screwdriver the handle of the screwdriver against the lid, which you would with a small handled screwdriver. Okay, so with that out, I'm hoping this just lifts clean off, and to always need to just pop this little bag carrier out of the way, and there we go. The lid off. Now, as with most Miele's, this is going to come off as one unit. Love that. Which leaves us four more screws. So one is always underneath the filter area. Two at the back on each corner. And actually, while we're looking at this, have a look how clean this machine is. There's no sign of misuse. The motor cavity here, you can't see any, there's a little bit of carbon, but that's probably just because the motor's burnt out. This is actually a little bit of a mystery to me. This machine looks genuinely well cared for. I don't know why that motor's burnt out. Now, you'll notice here, there's a catch on the side, there's one on each side, and you just pull those out at the same time as lifting up the rest. Put aside our sound dampening filter, and you'll notice this, literally the motor just lifts straight up and the wiring comes off. Put that to one side. Grab ourselves a new motor This is part number 9271290, original Miele. And all you have to do is sit it in position with your wiring assembly close to the cord retract, and as you're placing this down, you attach your cord like that. Okay, now the motors from Miele come already with your front rubber locator, your rear locators, so all you've got to do then is just pop your filter back on and then reverse the process. So if you've got a nice neat bench, you'll just be able to grab everything. That's unexpected. In fact, we're going to have to pause that. Okay, so we've answered the phone, we've put the motor in, and we're just going to drop this back in place. Easy as that. Just assemble that part back on. You want to feel it clip into place. This isn't quite actually sitting right, so I'm just going to lift him back up. It didn't sit down quite right in the back end here, so I'm just going to reassemble it, probably because that cord retract was sitting in. Let's have another go. Aha. Okay. So, I'll just show you the part that wasn't right. Around here, see this wavy seal? You want that to sit neatly down. If it's not, especially with a Miele, if it's not dropping into place, most likely something is in the way or it's not quite lined up. These things really are just position and press. There's no forcing required to fit parts on these machines. Okay, just throwing these screws back in. Okay, so now we've got the three along the back in and the one in the center. On with our electronic unit, I think they call it. And this has to lock in down here. That gets power from your switch to and from the cord. Checking at this point that our cord can retract easily. That means you've got it positioned well. Pause. Okay, so now we just toss the lid back on. Once we get to that point, we'll just pull the cord out and then it can sit down straight. Should be able to sit down straight. There we go. Okay, so now we've got our 6 screws only to go back in. 2 at the rear. Two at the front. Okay, now we're up to the ones that are under the corners of the lid, where we're going to drop the lid down just a little bit. Okay, now we position with this front lug, we're dropping that down into its little carrier and we slide the back around. That's it. Repeat the process here. So the front lug in, push it down, and this is going to go in with just a little wriggle. I'm going to leave that. Okay, and so at this point let's just test and see how she sounds. That is how to change the motor in a Miele Cat and Dog 5000. Elegant vacuum spot saying g'day.